Supplemental Affidavit. Let's read the real receipts. Exhibit truth. Yeah. You bragging cause she said we made love on the tape, like a puppet on a string, no escape from the cape. You forgot to tell the court how the programming works, how a coat leader praise on the doubts and alerts. Making love, that's the phrase that you taught them to say. Drilled it in their heads until the lines turned gray. You say, look at exhibit A, yeah, she's acting the part, walking in the fog with a heavy heart. You claim she gave it to you cause she cared for you deep. That ain't consent, homie, that's a wolf with the sheep. She was following the doctrine, the rules of the house. You don't get a gold star for trapping a mouse. You say it wasn't rape cause she didn't scream, no, but coercion is a sad-ass way to go. You filmed the crime, led the cops to your shrine. The end of an era is the end of your time. Now let's get to the article you try to exploit. Exhibit J, Rolling Stone, yeah, you think you a droid. You highlighted good part of what she said. He never raped me, but you cut off the sentence when she finally broke free. Read the next line, dummy, let the record show. I never thought that power dynamic was rape. There you go. She had to research coach just to understand the sin, to realize the nightmare that you put her in. She said all he did was rape us. It was culture and hate, but you stopped reading early just to clear slate. You say it wasn't rape, she didn't scream, no, but coercion is a sad-ass way to go. You filmed the crime, led the cops to your shrine. The end of an era is the end of your time. Now let's talk exhibit I. You playing detective games, blaming the Phantom Juror. Yeah, you dropping names, but you wrote in fine print. I can't confirm who she is. You building legal motions off an internet quiz. Then you cry about the judge, saying she had the flu. You claim you couldn't testify, boo-hoo for you. You weren't scared of the virus, you were scared of the cross. Scared the DA will show you who's really the boss. And you claim the safe was hidden, exhibit in the stack, but you posted it yourself, so take that lie back. Ray Jim's going charges sticking like glue to your name. You admit you posted videos March 19, 22 with her full knowledge, that's just another view. You say the detectives racking unfair, saying these two be jammed up there cause they care. They saw a victim who was blind to the abuse, and they did what they had to do to tighten the noose, make it love. You say it wasn't rape, that she didn't scream, no, but coercion is a sad-ass way to go. You filmed the crime, laid the cops to your shrine. The end of an era is the end of your time. Breaking love, that's what you talking to call it. Exhibit J Cool. One thing. She woke up and you still sleep in motion.
Women love to get choked. They like to get choked. They might want you to chase them and rape them. Like when I say I'm talking about like play like rape and be a little rough with them. Passionate. Women love passion. Women need to know when you touch them, it's intentional. Like they want to feel that you are touching them with all the intent in the world.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
Excuse me, are y'all with the cult?
We're not a cult. We're an organization that promotes love and...
Yeah, this is it.
Welcome back to the Tea family. Today I have a very special podcast, broadcast, video, what have you, that I want to bring to you. Today we aren't just going to be sipping tea. We're going to be studying it. So join the classroom with me. Let's learn a little something. I have in my hands the Supplemental Affidavit that has been filed by Eligio Bishop, aka Natureboy, aka, lowercase God and Messiah, dated December 11th, 2025, received by the clerk, the Cobb County clerk. He filed this pro se, which is fancy legal talk for he wrote it himself in his cell, and he wants a new trial. He breaks his complaints down into numbered paragraphs, so I'm going to break down his complaints paragraph by paragraph and show you exactly why this man is still sitting in Oglethorpe, Georgia, Macon State Penitentiary, as I speak. Now let's get into the fine-tooth comb edition of this paperwork that Eligio filed in the Clerk of Superior Court Criminal Division. I'm going to read it all the way through first. It is 17 pages long, but I will get through it pretty quickly. And then we're going to go through some of these paragraphs in detail and kind of break some stuff down. And I'm going to give you my thoughts and my opinions, and you are more than welcome to give me yours in the comments in the chat as we go along. I'm happy to hear everybody's input on this. And so we begin. Supplemental Affidavit of Eligio Bishop, including printed exhibits, 1 USB flash drive. All right, let's get into it. I am the defendant in the above captioned criminal case. I am competent to make this affidavit, and all facts stated herein are based on my personal knowledge. My previous attorney, Robert Booker, filed a motion for new trial on my behalf on March 5th, 2024, which remains pending before this court. I now submit this supplemental affidavit to present new evidence, factual clarifications, and documented misconduct that further support the granting of a new trial in the interest of justice. Digital copies of Exhibits A through J are included on the accompanying flash drive for the court's reference. Key timestamps are highlighted. Charges and background. I was charged with 1 count of rape, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 3 counts of revenge porn, sexually explicit transmissions in DeKalb County Superior Court under case number 24 CR 1183. These charges arose from events alleged to have occurred in March 2022. Initial police report, March 30, 2022. On March 30, 2022, the complainant filed a police report that did not allege rape or false imprisonment. Her statements focused solely on concerns regarding social media videos, see Exhibit A, initial police report video, and transcript excerpts attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. Furthermore, in the same initial police report, she explicitly stated that when we're together, we be making videos, Exhibit A. She also admitted that she did not reach out to tell me to take the videos down, Exhibit A. The videos in question were initially recorded and posted together on my first Twitter page, March 19, 2022, with her full knowledge and presence. The complainant left my home March 24, 2022. I have videos posted of us together as far back as January 12, 2022. See Exhibit B, screen recording of initial Twitter post attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. After my original Twitter page was blocked, my production team re-uploaded the same videos that the complainant had already recorded with me and acknowledged posting together. Exhibit B. Complainant's first interview, YouTube live stream March 31st, 2022. On March 31st, 2022, in a YouTube live interview, the complainant stated our encounter was consensual. See Exhibit C, complainant's YouTube interview, video and transcript excerpts, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. The complainant described the encounter in her own words regarding the rape and false imprisonment allegations, stating, "Making love. I allowed him. I'm a sucker for love. And he had sex with me, thinking all I needed was dick, but that wasn't it. What I wanted was love. I got the Uber and I started to make my exit. And I go back inside to tell him bye." Exhibit C. During this live stream, the interviewer explicitly encouraged her to go to the authorities because you were assaulted and assured her that you have a ton of people out here that will support you if you decide to do that. Exhibit C. In the interview, she denied being sexually assaulted. She replied, "No, I know that it wasn't love because it just felt fake. I just felt like he was acting." Exhibit C. Detective communication with YouTube interviewer. After the interview, a DeKalb County detective communicated with the same online host, requesting access to videos and information about me. See Exhibit D. Screen recording of detective critic communication, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. Complainant's interview with detectives, April 7, 2022. On April 7, 2022, 1 week after the complainant's interview on a YouTube live stream, detectives Gregory Moore and Monica Panosian conducted a recorded interview with the complainant in which she did not allege rape, describing the encounter as consensual, and stated she gave it to him, and I just let it happen. See Exhibit E. Alleged victims interview with detectives, video and transcript excerpts, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. During this interview, the word rape was never spoken by the complainant nor the detectives. The complainant stated she was filing a report for revenge porn concerns, not sexual assault, Exhibit E. The complainant described the encounter as made love twice and stated, he asked me, do you really want to go? And I just started crying in his arms, Exhibit E. The detectives made multiple remarks, including, to think you're God. This guy isn't a good man. He needs to be jammed up. And we're trying to get to this nature boy. We've been trying to get to this nature boy, my online persona, for a minute now. And if you don't want to prosecute, we have nothing, Exhibit E. The April 7th recorded interview with the detectives and complainant was not introduced at trial. Withholding the exculpatory interview violated due process under Brady versus Maryland, 373 U.S. 83. False reports and misrepresentations by detectives. Detectives' subsequent notes and warrant documents state that the complainant reported forced sexual intercourse and verbal refusals, which she did not state in the recorded interview. See Exhibit F, case notes, arrest warrant, and affidavit attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. The state's reliance on those documents while withholding the exculpatory interview violated due process under NAPU versus Illinois 360 U.S. 264 1959 and Mooney versus Hallahan 294 U.S. 103 1935. Prosecution's review of devices and suppressed evidence. The prosecution obtained and reviewed extensive footage from my personal cameras and devices. This includes all digital media seized under search warrant 22CR2234, which authorized a full forensic extraction and examination of 17 iPhones, 4 iPads, a Sony A6600 camera, and a 128 gigabyte memory card. Despite having complete access to all of my visual media, audio files, documents, and system data from January 1st, 2020 through April 13, 2022, the state presented none of this evidence at trial. I was never informed of what content was reviewed, excluded, or deemed relevant, and no digital evidence from these devices was disclosed to the defense or introduced at court. See Exhibit G, search warrant and digital extraction orders attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. This footage was from the house where the alleged incident occurred and where we were actively filming a documentary. The withholding of such potentially exculpatory evidence constitutes a clear violation under Brady versus Maryland. COVID exposure and denial of testimony. I was unable to testify in my own defense at trial due to a COVID-19 exposure risk. The presiding judge, Stacey K. Heydrich, tested positive for COVID-19 on or about February 27, 2024, and returned to the bench before completing a 5-day quarantine or obtaining a negative test, both required by CDC guidelines. See Exhibit H, CDC guidelines attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. This forced me to choose between testifying in person and risking exposure or appearing remotely from jail in a jumpsuit, unable to communicate with my lawyer. Out of concern for my health, I remained remote and was unable to testify. The CDC guidelines did not revise its quarantine rules until March 1st, 2024, the same day I was convicted. This conduct violated my Sixth Amendment rights and the duty to ensure a fair trial under Shepard versus Maxwell, 384 U.S. 333, 1966. where the U.S. Supreme Court held that a trial judge has an affirmative constitutional obligation to preserve the dignity and fairness of the proceedings. Juror misconduct and publicly expressed bias. After conviction, a person publicly claiming to be a juror, MarQueshia Baker, stated she researched me online and was influenced by online material. See Exhibit I, juror misconduct video and transcript excerpts, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. While I cannot confirm her identity, these statements raise substantial concerns requiring a hearing to verify whether she was a seated juror. If confirmed, her actions violated my Sixth Amendment right to an impartial juror under Rimmer versus the United States. Newly discovered evidence. Rolling Stone article. In a February 23, 2025 Rolling Stone article published nearly a year after my conviction, the complainant was quoted publicly stating, "When I heard the rape charge, I was like, what? He never raped me." And she said she did not initially believe the conduct constituted rape until others explained it. See Exhibit J, screenshots from Rolling Stone article attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. This evidence meets the criteria of Timberlake versus State, 246 Georgia 488 1980, as it is material, non-cumulative, and would likely produce a different result if presented to a jury. Post-conviction stabbing incident. On August 7, 2024, I was stabbed multiple times in prison, in which I sustained 9 stab wounds, including a punctured lung and wounds to my back and leg. I have remained in solitary confinement since August 2024 following this incident. I was airlifted to a hospital in Oglethorpe, Georgia for emergency treatment. Conclusion. I make this affidavit in support of my pending motion for new trial. I respectfully assert that the trial was conducted under constitutional violations and that new evidence and prosecutorial misrepresentations materially prejudiced my case. ... And here we see all the exhibits index, other material information relevant to his request for relief. And so we begin.
Take me through that. Anyway, now y'all know I don't deal in rumors. I try not to. I deal in receipts. And right now, from behind bars in Macon State Prison, Eligio Bishop, aka Natureboy, is trying to spin the biggest... Let's just say he's trying to spin the biggest twirl of his career. He's twerking hard. So on December 11, 2025, he filed a supplemental affidavit demanding a new trial. Now, he had already filed a motion for a new trial immediately following his conviction and sentencing. But just recently, he added what I call an addendum. He says he was framed. He says the prosecution cheated. He says the judge put his life at risk. This is God speaking. The Messiah, the Holy Trinity, mind you. Okay? These are his own words. I'm just saying. I don't see how a mere mortal human being could ever put God's life at risk. Anyway, he wants us all to believe that he's a martyr. But I've read the 17-page filing thanks to Medea. I appreciate that. I've reviewed the exhibits, and I'm here to tell you the math ain't mathing. So today, I'm going to go line by line through his motion to show you exactly how he is trying to manipulate the system and why his own evidence is actually sounding more like the final nail in his coffin than anything, and why his chances, I would give his chance at a new trial somewhere between, 1 to 15%. And I think that that's being generous. We'll see what happens. But for now, let's get into it. Claim number 1. Let's start with his biggest claim. Now, in paragraph 20 of his affidavit, Bishop claims that the prosecution suppressed, that means hid, a recorded police interview with the victim, Janae, from April 7th, 2022. He claims this violated his rights under Brady versus Maryland. For my non-lawyers, a Brady violation is a serious accusation. It means the district attorney cheated by hiding evidence that proves you're innocent. Now, if that were true, he should absolutely get a new trial. Period. But here's the gag, and here's the thing I can't figure out. As you can see, how can the state be hiding a video that is currently posted on his own YouTube channel? Let's make it make sense. In a criminal trial, there's a process called discovery. The state is legally required to hand over a hard drive with every single file they have to the defense attorney. The fact that Bishop has this video file to upload to the internet proves one thing. He had it in his possession. My assumption is that the state gave it to his lawyer, who then gave it to him. Now, if his lawyer had it, it wasn't suppressed, period. So the real question isn't why did the prosecution hide it? The real question is why on earth did his lawyer refuse to play it? And baby, I know why. Claim number 2, the make love defense. This is my favorite, sadly, my favorite defense because every Natureboy supporter has thrown this defense at every angle that they could possibly throw it at. I still have Natureboy lovers sending me hate to this day, telling me I coerced the victim into trumping up charges against Natureboy, which is very interesting to me because it just shows me the severe lack of critical thinking that exists among Natureboy's followers. Sorry, not sorry. You guys can't even think for yourselves. Because if I coerced the victim before she did this April 7th interview with the detectives and she's still using the same language that she used in my interview with her, I guess I'm not that good at trumping up a charge against somebody that I didn't even know they could be charged with at the time. Y'all are something else. Y'all are pieces of work. So, like his followers, Bishop, Natureboy, thinks that this tape is his gotcha moment. He points out that in this interview, Janae tells the detectives that they made love and that she gave it to him. Now, he thinks this proves consent. So do his supporters. But context is key. And I want to send a shout out to everyone who was in that chat the day of that interview, the 6-hour interview, who immediately questioned her when she said that they made love after describing everything that led up to that moment, and did not believe for a minute that that was what was going on because the facts didn't match the language. Not to me, not to most of my audience, and obviously not to the detectives, the jury, the judge, the court of law. So, I don't know. But he thinks this proves consent, but context is always key. So I watched the whole 38 minutes, finally. Now here's the reality. In that same interview, while she uses the words make love, she also describes the reality of her life in the cult.
Just doing his thing, but now I feel like he's being more psychotic. Of course, when I'm out the cult, now I see how mentally ill he is. Because when you're in the environment, you're just subjected to playing a part or just being in the magic of it all, or just hypnosis of it all. But now that I'm out, I'm seeing how mentally ill and abusive it is, and me myself, I am now coming out and seeing that I am in the narcissistic abuse syndrome. So now I'm kind of healing myself. But what happened when I left is that the girls attacked me.
Okay.
Yeah,
at his direction.
Yeah, at his address. The girls attacked me. Two of them.
I mean, he told them to do that?
Yeah. He makes sure he tells people to do it. He told this woman named Zoka who lives there. That's not her real name, but that's what we go by. We change our names and, whatever. He let her know that it's okay to hit me if I get out of line. I basically just made a face. I don't know, like he said he didn't like my face, so he gave the permission for her to hit me. She hits me several times. Another woman comes up and pushes me back, and it ordered me to get on my knees and, pay respect or whatever. So that's when I decided I wanted to leave. When I started packing up, the women still were interrogating me, still, provoking me and hitting me as I'm trying to go. So I had to make sure, once I tried to leave, I kind of got manipulated back into the situation. I'm not going to lie to you. When I tried to leave, I went back to say goodbye, and he kept me inside and said, you're not going anywhere. I'm not letting you go. You're my property. You're my bitch. And that's when then he made love to me. And then that's when I decided I'm going to have to sneak out because he's not going to let me go.
So he physically was not going to let you leave?
Yeah, he pushed me, he let me into the other room, led me into the other room. And he just, with words and, you know how it is. Like, he's big, so I'm not going to, and plus I've seen him abuse women and everything like that. So at this point, I'm not going to resist him or anything of that nature. I'm just going to play my role, play my part, and just stay there until I get some help moving on out. So I texted a few people, got like a Uber money, and was out the next morning. The Uber, and I'm almost in the Uber. Oh my God, I'm almost in the Uber. But then the girls call out and say, God is calling, basically because he calls himself God. And I just want to go say bye. So I go upstairs and I say bye. He says, I love you. I say, I love you too. And I start crying, and I'm about to go back downstairs. And I'm going back downstairs at this point. I'm about going downstairs, and he's like, come here. And then he, takes my hand, and he's taking me into the other room. And I'm telling him, stop, no, I don't want to do this, please. And I break down crying in his arms at the end of the day. And he's like, I'm not letting you go. You're my bitch. I'm like, no, I want to go. I want to leave at this time. Please let me go. And at this point, he's looking me in my eyes and telling me this and that and third. We make love. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get out because he's not going to let me go. So I'm going to have to sneak out because someone else snuck out like a week prior. So,
who snuck out a week prior?
His name is Kite. He goes by Kite.
Kite, K-I-T-E or K-Y?
K-I-T-E. And that's when after he, does his duty, and I'm telling him I still want to go, he's like, shut up, like, get over it, you're mine, like, you're my property, hurry up, get dressed, get over it, come downstairs, you're just dragging it out now. And I'm like, okay, I want to take a shower. And he says, okay, and he leaves. And at this point, I start texting my friend, like, look, I'm going to have to sneak out.
We're not talking about the revenge form. We're talking about the rape. We're talking about when she tried to leave. No. What I'm saying to you is, why would I want to rape her if I myself was, this is my girl. Why would I rape her? And then she left. She left in the middle. She just left. First of all, she had to leave. No, this is what happened. Let me tell you exactly what happened. Okay. When I'm in the room, I'm on the road, she won't go around. This is my girl. She's about to leave because she's mad. She's emotional. She's getting emotional because we're doing what she could be. Get this together. She's like, I give up. I don't want to do this no more. And I'm, so I want to think, chill out. You don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I hugged her. And then she's like, no. And I'm like, babe, you know how it is. Like, it wasn't no, stop. No, that was never. It was like, babe, chill out. And she's like, okay. And she texted her. She was like, all right. But then after we made love right there, she was like, when she went in the room, we made love. It was no rape, son.
And we've heard it all before. She tells the detective she said no. Number one. She tells them she tried to leave. Number two. She tells them he blocked her exit. number 3. She says, and I quote, "I just let it happen because if I gave him what he wants, he'll leave me alone." Number 4. So as a detective, if you're sitting in a room with a potential victim who is telling you initially that their ex is posting revenge porn of them online after they left them, after they got away in the heat of the morning, the dawn of the morning. Now, we who were following know that he was posting a lot of porn on Twitter at the time, now known as X, and he was doing so unabashedly. And what happened is he eventually got banned for some reason and created a new page and reposted the videos even after she had left. Why are you reposting videos of this girl performing sexual acts with you when she's no longer in your presence? When the split, the break has occurred, you have not received her consent to do so a second time.
He did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but she's incomplete. She's like literally going through the spiritual journey. It's a spiritual video, like showing that the vagina, like it was really like an educational thing, right? And so I had the whole footage, like literally, like, and when she left, she was mad. And then she just flipped on me and said revenge porn. Because what happened was, on my Twitter, when she left, I thought she wanted to leave. I was like, oh, God. So when she left, it was still on Twitter. So she said, she didn't ask me, she didn't call me and say, can you take that down? Because we did that together, can you take that down? She didn't do that. She just said revenge porn. And I know it's my haters, you know, saying, you should get on this. They're literally doing everything they can to put me in jail.
And then not only that, you're taunting her. You're making all types of messed up, comments. You're posting clowns and all type of things, taunting her after she left. And you wonder why you were charged the way that you were charged. Now, let me speak to the women watching this. Ladies, if you say no, if you try to leave, if you are trapped in a room and you eventually stop fighting just so you can survive the night, that is not making love. That is coercion. That is survival. That is rape per Georgia law. Now, even if you love him, even if it's your husband, even if you are in love with him, it still is what it is. Now, a lot of this happens on a daily basis. More rape goes unreported than what is reported. And the women who do falsely report rape, those figures they pale in comparison to the women who never report rape. Now, one doesn't make the other okay, but two things can exist and be true at the same time. Back to the video. Now, his lawyer knew all of this. His lawyer knew that if he played this tape, the jury wouldn't hear a love story. Now, this is the Trojan horse and why his lawyer buried it. This is another reason why this tape was most likely not played in court. He calls it exculpatory, meaning it clears his name. I call it a Trojan horse. If his lawyer had played this video in court, the jury would have heard the detectives, and these are experienced SVU officers, saying this about Bishop, and he takes issue with this. But it's the truth. I mean, let's be real. He needs to be jammed up. He's not a good man. Now, if he was a good man, I could understand the outrage of these detectives saying something like that about this man. But they spoke nothing but the truth. Even worse, in this video, the detectives discuss other investigations that they had going on at the time. His lawyer didn't suppress the tape to hurt him. He buried it to save him. Nature Boy is so arrogant that he doesn't realize his lawyer was the only one protecting him from his own history.
Y'all all work for me. Y'all, matter of fact, down on your knees. What the fuck wrong with y'all? Don't stand up around me, man. Don't stand over me, ever stand over me. Fuck that. Get down, bro. All the way down, bro. What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? Don't stand around the tree like that. Don't ever stand around the tree like that. Oh, come help them. Get them the fuck out of my life. I dare you. I dare you get these people the fuck out of my life. Bro, come get these niggas right now. Call a cop. 3, get y'all shit. Fuck out. These people bothering me. Nigga, they want the 3. They want the juice. They want the 3 from the 3. They gonna have to respect the 3. They worship the 3. They worship the 3 because I'm the 3 God.
3 God?
Most high.
Listen, fuck all that.
His own story. Now I want to talk about his 4th claim, the Phantom Juror, MarQueshia Baker. Let's talk about Exhibit I. He claims a juror named MarQueshia Baker went online after the trial and admitted she was biased by social media. Now this sounds big, right? Huge. This could be the nail in the prosecution's coffin of him being granted a new trial. But let's look at the fine print, paragraph 32. I cannot confirm her identity. Now, he's basing his entire legal argument on a YouTube comment or a video from a stranger online. And rumor has it that an individual who was a former member of a former deranged member of his cult, saying that she saw a woman on a Bigo panel of all places saying this. I don't know if he has a video to reference this, but we all know how the internet works. Wondering if the woman was cammed up or not, and I'm wondering if the prosecution will be able to clarify and or deny that this woman by this name was even a member of the jury. That remains to be seen. But, you know, people troll high-profile cases for clout all the time. So unless he can produce the official court roll showing a MarQueshia Baker sat in that box, this is smoke and mirrors. If he can produce official documentation showing that a woman by that name was a member of the jury, he has a chance for a new trial. He's asking the judge to overturn a conviction based on internet gossip at this point, which is a very desperate move. However, the onus is on him to obtain proof that this claim is actually true. Claim number 5. We have the health issue. He claims he couldn't testify in his own defense because Judge Stacey Heydrich had COVID and had returned to the bench too soon. He says he was scared of exposure. Now get this, I'm just going to say this. I was in the courtroom that day. Natureboy Eligio Bishop was the only person that had an issue with the judge's
protesting the idea that the judge had been diagnosed with COVID on Tuesday. They didn't have any court on Wednesday. Then she decided to come back on Wednesday, wear a mask, allowed anyone else who wanted to wear a mask to wear a mask. But this defendant decided that he didn't want to be in the courtroom at the time.
She was more than 6 feet away from everyone. She was wearing a mask, and she asked everyone. She asked the jury. She asked the prosecution, the defense. No one moved. Natureboy was the only one that had an issue. Now, if Eligio wanted to get on that stand and tell his truth, he would have crawled over broken glass to do it, and we all know that. The truth? Defense lawyers almost never let narcissistic clients testify. Why?
Mr. O'Neill, you need to speak audibly so that the jury can hear what you're saying.
Yes, ma'am, I haven't begun yet. I was talking to my father. He showed you a fraudulent recording where they allege that I beat Kenyatta Barron to death. He talked about Mr. Khalil Brown, my neighbor who stayed across the street. But if Mr. Khalil Brown was a help to them proving me guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, they would have called Mr. Khalil Brown. Now, I'm going to prove it to you. You heard Khalil Brown. He said that he was actually sure that I only hit Kenyatta Barron 3 times. You heard. I called him to tell you that. I ain't running from nothing. They didn't call Khalil Brown to tell you that. I did. You have to ask yourself why that is. Because I want you to know the actual facts. I did kill Kenyatta Barron. But I want you to tell it like it is if you're going to tell it.
Because a prosecutor would have eaten him alive on cross-examination. He didn't stay off the stand because of germs. He stayed off the stand because he couldn't handle the heat. And his lawyer knew it. Now let's address claim number 6, the Rolling Stone article from February 2025. This is what he is entering as new evidence. In the article, Janae is quoted as saying, "When I heard the rape charge, I was like, what? He never raped me." That is a true and factual response, because when I saw that he was charged with rape, I too was very shocked, stunned even. I didn't know that coercion in a certain context could even be constituted as rape in Georgia or anywhere in the United States. I literally said, you were sexually coerced. That is wrong. And no means no. So when she heard the rape charge and said, what, he never raped me, that was an honest reaction. Now he stops reading there. He doesn't want anything else to be said after that, but I didn't. Because the very next sentence says, but then they explained, I never thought that power dynamic was rape. After researching Coates, I was able to understand that all he did was rape us. This is corroborated by multiple women that came through that code, as well as ex-girlfriends of his. Not only that, Syrians made a comment under a video of former cult member, quote unquote, Mama Earth, that I captured via screenshot in 2020. I think it was 2020. That said, he can't keep getting away with rape. This was long before all of this occurred. And when I see that quote, that I don't know why I screenshot it, I saved it in my iPad. I don't know why that caught my eye at the time, but I was able to reference it later on, and it was just like, wow. She was one of the first individuals out of the cult to even express that clearly. She had left the cult by that time, but she did say that. And that eventually came to fruition. Now, I will say this. Being able to understand what you were going through or are dealing with in a high trauma situation, like being in a sex cult, an abusive sex cult at that, where you're being abused in multiple ways, sexually, spiritually, financially, physically, in some, most, if not all cases. I will say that for the victim, that night was the first time that she had reportedly ever had hands laid on her by the other cult members. And I think that that was a wake-up call. So now this doesn't prove he's innocent at all. It proves he was successful at brainwashing her. The law understands that victims of cult control often don't even realize that they're victims until they get out. They think, and we saw this over and over and over again throughout the years with his ex-wife, Velvet. They don't consider themselves victims. They think that they're just going through the motions. Well, Natureboy was able to capitalize off of this so succinctly. He used her trauma, confusion as proof of his innocence. And that is exactly what a master manipulator does. So here's my conclusion. I'm going to do a little quick recap. The tape wasn't hidden because he has it. Did he get the tape after trial for some strange reason? Did he do a freedom of information request to obtain the tape? Now, if those things if there are any truth to those two things, then okay, suppression happened. But obviously his defense lawyer knew that Janae did an interview with the detectives, and this is something that should have definitely been brought up in court if he had an issue with that tape not being played. Why would the prosecution play a tape that if they don't need to? Why wouldn't his defense attorney play the tape that could prove his innocence? Because that tape did not prove his innocence. That interview showed that this man was a master manipulator running a sex cult, and he was abusive. The tape confirms that he's a predator. It mentions coercion and trafficking, a form of, what he was doing, spiritual trafficking, sexual trafficking, financial trafficking. He was doing it all. The consent in this case was survival. Why is it that 90% of the folks that left your cult after melanation literally were escaping in the heat of the night, in the middle of the night? Why is that? And at this point in time, the juror claim, hopefully it's not true. If it is true, it is so unfortunate. And people really need to understand that being a juror in any type of legal case is a serious responsibility. It's a legal duty as an American citizen, but you have a duty and a responsibility to do the right thing and to make the right choices when you are given a responsibility over someone else's life, because you're not only impacting the defendant, you're impacting the victims as well. So I'm hoping that the juror is nothing more than an internet troll. That would be his only chance, in my humble opinion, of getting a new trial, is if he can prove that the lady in question was an actual juror. She would have to be subpoenaed. She would have to testify at the new evidentiary hearing, and she would have to admit that she did look him up during the trial and that her decision to convict was influenced by the things that she saw online. That's his only hope, in my opinion. Eligio Bishop is doing what he's always done. He's trying to find control of the narrative because he has lost control of his life at this point. He wants you to doubt the system so you don't look at the truth of his actions. But here on the T, I read the fine print, baby. I check the timestamps, and I know the difference between a suppressed file and a failed strategy. So I don't know. I just know he didn't lose because of a conspiracy theory, baby, if that was truly the case, it would have been blown wide open by now. And do you see me sitting over here hot and bothered over people thinking that I conspired against this man? I mean, their God. I mean, like, the jokes just write themselves when it comes to him, his cult, and his followers. He lost because he recorded his own crimes, and now he's mad the world has finally watched them. But he ain't seen nothing yet. 2026 is about to be one for the record books. And that's a promise. And that's the tea. Thank y'all for listening. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, because the truth needs to be louder than the lie. Always. I'll see y'all in the comments. Peace and love.
Be grateful. See the attitude on her face?
What? Say, ooh, that was a good one.
That's a bad act. You should never did that. That's dumb. No, there is nobody in jail that ain't supposed to be in jail.
He didn't lose because of a conspiracy. He lost because he recorded his own crimes.
Yeah, they go live, pour the shots, yeah, they wildin' again. Phone in their face, can't tell where they acting in. Drama for the gift, trauma for the trend. Click, share, comment, cycle never ends. They do anything for content, anything for views and the nonsense. Bruises on cam, still flexing, no conscience. Talk tough, cry later, that's the constant. They do anything for content, selling pain like it's profit. Turn the fight to a topic. Whole love look toxic. Big cup, small heart, now they spilling they scars. 21 and Joski acting out for the stars. Chat room cheering while they crashing their cars. Supporters by the smoke, but forget who they are. It's a circus on the screen, validation of drugs. Tension of religion, followers of the plug. Love turn to content, tears turn to merch. They pray on camera, still lost in the church. Ain't no peace in performing pain. Views go up while the soul get drained. Fake love, real bruises, same refrain. That's fame when the truth gets stained. They do anything for content, anything for likes in the comments. Living off chaos and gossip. Real life bleeding through the optics. They do anything for content, screaming on light, that's the conflict. Cameras roll while the love turn violent. World watch quiet, that's the problem. Glitz in the glitch, fame in the fall. Screenshots last longer than the call. Money on mute, trauma on play. What's the price of peace when the rent get paid? Algorithm love a breakdown, baby. Pain and pixels look crazy. But when the lights go, who's saving you? Big O don't care what the truth been through. They do anything for content, anything for clout and no nonsense. Hearts on live, bruises off camera. World keeps scrolling, no stamina. They do anything for content, but content don't hear that conflict, nah. One day they'll see through the nonsense. When the pain go viral, who